throw your name on here. It is currently first hour. Today we are graphing linear inequalities. A solution to an inequality is anywhere in the shaded area. Did I leave a note sheet on your desk? I just didn't remember I did. Today, our solutions are going to be written as ordered pairs. So if you are asked to find a solution to a linear inequality, you're going to list it as an ordered pair. And if you want to, you might want to put an x comma y here, because some of us are still tripping up on which one comes first. Okay, so the last time we did inequalities was in 1.3 and 1.11 maybe? Good morning. Pick any seat in these first four rows. That's open. Here you go. Take this too. Okay, so when we did those, we used an open or a closed circle, and then we drew an arrow to the left or the right. Today we're graphing a whole line, so we can't do one circle on a number line. Instead, we have to use our line to represent whether it's less than or greater than, or less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So we are going to shade below a dashed line anytime it is less than. So put a less than sign there. And then if you need to label that as less than, you can. Pick any seat in these first four rows that's open. I'm letting people pick new seats today in this hour. Okay, we are going to shade above a dashed line for greater than. If you need to label that, label that. So shade below for less, shade above for greater. That makes sense. We use a dashed line for just less than and greater than. So what we mean by a dashed line is like a boop, 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 where it's not all connected. Okay, we're going to use a solid line to shade below for less than or equal to. So I'm going to label that as less or equal. That kind of just looks like a smiley face. We're going to shade above a solid line for greater or equal. Right, so other than the type of line we use and whether we shade above and below, all of this is the exact same graphing as we've been doing in 2.4 and 2.6. So the y equals mx plus b, the slope intercepts, and then our horizontals and verticals, we mix those in as well. So going down to look at my first example, I've got y is less than negative 2/3 x plus 4. We put blanks here for you guys in your notes, and I think we put them on the assignment too. Yeah, we did. For you guys to list the type of line you're going to use and where you're going to shade. So for a less than sign, we are going to shade below a dashed line. So shade below a dashed line. So we're going to graph that line. We start at positive 4. That's our y-intercept. And we graph a slope of negative 2/3. So we go down 2, right 3. Down 2, right 3. I can't go any further, but I can go up and to the left a couple times. up 2, left 3. Just kidding, 1 time. Okay. And then we are going to connect this. When we connect it into a dashed line. So, I put my ruler down still, and then I just pick my pen or pencil up. Make sure it's dashed enough that you can tell that it's dashed. Hey, any questions there? Okay, then we are going to shade below that line. So we have to look at where the line is. I like to use my ruler to kind of mark it to you guys. So that's where my line is. Boop, doo, doo, doo. That's where my line is. I need to shade everything below the line. When I shade, I want to shade lightly in case I mess up and I have to erase. And I'm going to ask you guys, because it's going to help you next unit, shade in the opposite direction of the line. So if my line's here, shade this way. So you literally just need to shade enough that you can tell that this side's shaded. You do not need to color it in solid. So just shade below the line. And then this right here, remember when I was telling you guys when you graph your lines to go all the way from side to side? This is one of the reasons why. Hey, any questions? Okay, we've got one more on this side, and then we've got some horizontal and verticals on the back. We've got y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 5. What type of line am I going to use for that? Or greater than or equal to? Solid. And where do I shade that? Above. Yes, so greater than or equal to is shade above a solid line. I think greater means more. Okay, so start my line at -5. And I graph a slope of 2. So I go up 2, right 1. So on and so forth. So up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. Okay, then this one I get to connect into a solid line. So I'm going to do that all the way across. Which side is above? The top left, yeah. So this is above in this one. So you got to kind of look, think, no matter how slopey it is. Good morning. Grab any seat in these first 4 rows. Yes, so any, that one or those two, these two. And then grab this from me. We'll get you caught up in a sec. Okay, any questions about those? Okay, oh, what I was saying. So I think if you're climbing up a mountain, which side would you be on? The top of the mountain would be above. The bottom of the mountain would be below. All right, on the back side. Our horizontal and vertical line rules still apply. So if you want to go ahead and on the back side, write that acronym we had, HOIVUX, that might help you. So this tells me y equals, well this time it's y is greater than, it's still going to be horizontal. So this line, since it's greater than, is going to be a dashed line, and we are shading above it. So we are shading above a dashed line in this one. So I'm going to do a horizontal line at 4. So this is 4 right here. And I need to do a horizontal dashed line there. Okay, and then everything above that is, this one's easy for above all of this. Okay, and then the last one we have here, this is an x equals, it's really x is less than or equal to line. So that means it's going to be a vertical line at -2. Since it's less than or equal to, it will be a solid line. And less than means below, which we'll talk about that in a second because the below doesn't really work for this. So less than or equal to -2. It's going to be a vertical line at -2 and it's solid, so I can just go ahead and draw that. Should have used a ruler, but I didn't. Okay. We don't have an above or below when our slope is straight up and down, when our slope is undefined. What's going to be less than that line? The left. So like if you think about positive and negative, less than or below when it's a vertical line is going to be to the left. So that's all. Hey, go ahead and glue these into your notebook. And then I will give you your assignments. We've got about 20 minutes to work on those today.